Hey everybody, my guest today is Samantha Pawly, Sam as she is known to her friends and thousands of social media subscribers. She is currently starring on Broadway in The Great Gatsby, along with my previous podcast guests, Eva and Jeremy Jordan. She originated the role of Katherine Howard in the Broadway musical Six. On the West End, she starred as Eva Peron in Jamie Lloyd's critically acclaimed production of Evita. She has also starred in Honeymoon in Vegas, Hairspray, Godspell, and so many more shows. Her solo shows give so much joy to all who get to see them. She is a Grammy nominee, a Drama Desk Award winner. Welcome, Sam. I hope you don't mind me calling you that because I've watched you get
No,
ready
that's
with me
perfect.
for so
Sam is
long.
great.
Welcome to the podcast. Tell listeners as we speak, you are
Thank
waiting
you.
for a lift on your day off. Is that
Oh,
correct?
yes. Yes, that is true. I'm waiting for my lift to pick me up so I can head to a doctor's appointment.
I love it. I love it. So thank you for spending in real time some of your day off with all of
Of
us.
course. My
Um,
pleasure.
so much to say, except that it's so funny the way like algorithms send people your way. I found myself getting ready to see Six with my teenage daughter at the time, and somehow
Yeah.
Instagram shared your getting ready for the shows with me as you put your makeup on and
Oh,
just
amazing.
lived your life almost like the Truman Show, just like completely quietly and completely. But it was so new to me because I'm 100 years old and just sort of understanding what it is to live in public and share your private life with people who love you from your work and maybe don't know you
Yeah.
in real life. And I want to
Yeah,
start with
definitely.
that, like, what was the kind of inspiration and how did you find the comfort level with that to kind of just be real with many, many people?
I think I started going live just for fun. It was something that I did a lot during the shutdown because I was bored, as we all were.
Yeah.
And and so I people seemed to enjoy it and they liked to see what I was doing. So I figured I would just start doing it while I was getting ready for the show so people could see, sort of behind the scenes stuff and like the process of getting ready for the show. Um, and sorry, we're turning around. Um, and
My editor is going to
I,
be so mad at me.
I,
Whatever. Keep going. It's real.
okay.
I'm getting ready
Um,
for you to go to the doctor right now.
so, so I kind of, I also like during the whole shutdown, I was like posting this song a day thing to keep me
Yeah.
busy. And so I kind of started to figure out just amidst all of that, how like posting at the same time every day on certain days kind of like helps you grow your following and your engagement, and all of this boring stuff. Um, and so I tried to keep that in mind when I was doing these get ready with me's for the show. I wanted to pick a day that was a weekend. So if people were in school, they'd be able to watch it, and a time that maybe if someone's on the other side of the world, they can also still watch it. So I
Yeah.
try and do it at the same time every weekend. I do it before a two-show day on a Saturday. I do it before the first matinee. It's early enough for most people and not too late for other people. Um, but I feel like I still do have inevitably a lot of people in there that are like, it's 3 a.m. for me in this country. And I'm like, that is crazy. That is crazy that they are still tuning in. But like you said, I engage a little bit, but I also just kind of continue to like go about what I'm doing as if they're not there because I'm also, still trying to like stay focused and get ready for the show.
I know. It's like a really interesting balance. Just a really interesting balance of living
Hmm.
and performing at
Yeah.
the same time. It's an interesting moment in the universe in that way.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
now get to, okay, so I just started with that because that's how I met you. Like that's how I first
Yeah.
became aware of you. And then I got to see your beautiful, beautiful work in Six. And that was such a unique theatrical going experience. And
Yeah.
I think the thing that came through was like this incredible love that the sisterhood and queendom that was on that
Yep.
stage. So I want to go back a little bit. Obviously, we're going to spend time talking about this incredible show, Old Sport, that you're in called The Great
Yeah.
Gatsby, which is another show that I didn't expect to be like going to see rock stars in a musical. I was not prepared for the audience reaction to this show, and it felt like I
Oh
was.
my gosh.
So, starting
Yeah.
with six, I want to know
Mhm.
how that role came into your life, and then we're going to kind of come to present day and a little bit about like where you grew up and who was in your house and how did you fall in love with performing and when did you know you
Yeah,
sang better
sure.
than everybody on the planet? Like, how did this all come together?
Um, so I grew up in Iowa, in the Midwest. My parents still live there. Um, and my parents are not theater people, not artistic, they're not singers. Um, and I didn't grow up doing theater. I didn't do my first like musical until the end of my junior year of high school. So I auditioned because my choir teacher thought I would like it and that it would be fun. And I sort of fell in love with it. And so the tail end of my junior year and then my senior year, my drama teacher kind of saw that I liked it and that that I was pretty good at it. I had no plans for college, didn't know if I was even going to go to college. I felt like I wasn't good at anything. And he helped me kind of find schools where programs weren't full yet. So I ended up going to college for music theater, and I feel like those 4 years are when I really discovered like, oh, I think I'm good enough at this that I could do this for a job. Um, I was watching, any videos I could find of people like Julia Murney, Eden Espinosa, Shoshana Bean, all of these voices that I heard that I was like, oh, that's who I want to be like. That's that's it. Um, and Wicked was the first Broadway show I ever saw, and Julia Murney was playing Alphaba, and I had like never seen anything scale before. I didn't know that that's like Broadway, and I'd never heard like hers, and I was like, oh, if this is what it can be, I want to do this. Um, so college was really where I think I kind of figured out like how to do all of this and what it was going to take. And um, I didn't move to New York right away because it kind of scared me, and I also still felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. Um, so my partner that I was with at the time, we ended up moving to Chicago instead, and that we moved there in 2014, and I was very lucky that after 2 months of living there, I had auditioned for a production of Godspell at a theater called the Marriott Theater. Um, I was non-equity. I had 0 points. I had like no professional experience. Um, and I got cast in the show, and because Godspell is such a small show, they told me that I had to join the union. They said, we're going to give you your equity card to do the show. And I said, I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm worried I won't work. Um, if I if I join right now when I'm this young, and this is like my first thing I'll have on a resume. And they were like, well, you have to join or you can't do the show. So signed that contract, and I was very lucky in my 6 years that I was there that I worked very regularly. I kind of hop between like there's three like major music theater houses in Chicago, and I would just kind of boop boop like hop around to each one. And in 2018, I got cast in the national tour of Bad Out of Hell, which had been running on the West End. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first national tour. It's a full production contract. Um, and we were out for a month, and then the tour got canceled abruptly, um, with no explanation. They didn't tell us why. They sent everybody home. And I kind of fell into this like just like a really deep depression over the industry, over what had happened. I was like, maybe this isn't really what I want to do. it can be so exciting, and I can be like at like the highest level of a national tour, and it can just get like ripped away and nobody owes you anything. That's crazy to me. And I just felt depressed. I was saying no to a lot of auditions. I wasn't excited about theater anymore. So um I was just done. I wanted to do something else. I started looking at other jobs, like working at the rescue where I volunteered a lot, the dog rescue. Um and the Marriott Theater where I did my first job, they reached out to my agents because they were doing a production of Footloose. They said, "We don't have a Rusty. Would Sam just come do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that'll be like my last thing. I know they'll take good care of me." I'd done like 10 shows there at that point. Um, and the day that I signed that contract was the day that Chicago Shakespeare Theater reached out to my agents about me coming in for six. And the productions were going to overlap. So I said, "Well, we both know that I can't do this. I just signed a contract for something else. Can't do it." Um, and I said no to auditioning for six 4 times. They kept coming back. They started having auditions all over the country. They kept coming back. I would say no. I would say no, 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 I can't. Thank you, but no. Maybe if it ever goes to Broadway, you know, we can see if they're looking for people, and then I'll think about it. And the music director who I had worked with before in Chicago, um, called me one night and left me a voicemail that I still have on my phone. I'll never delete it. And she said, we've been having auditions, and there's just one part that we're not really seeing what we're looking for. And I keep thinking, well, we got to get Sam Pawly. I think this is your show, and I think it's going to go to Broadway. And I think you should just make a tape just so the creatives can have you on file. And so I made a tape in my living room at like 10:30 at night, and I texted it to her, and 5 minutes later she texted me back and she said, "Great, the creatives just want you to come to final callbacks." And I said, "Okay." So and also within that time, it was like a weird 3-week chunk of time where I went in for that, and I was in the process of getting ready for final callbacks. And then I got my first email about this production of Evita in London. And within like a 3-week chunk of time, I booked six and also had a final in-person callback where the entire team from London flew to Chicago just to meet me to do an appointment with them. And within 3 weeks, I had like booked six. They had talked to Jamie Lloyd and all of his people about, well, if she books Evita, we'll let her leave 6 early so she can come and do this. It, like at a time where I was like, no, I'm good. I'm done with theater. That the universe was like, no, actually, we have these 2 things for you that are just going to completely change your life. So that's a very long-winded answer of how kind of how all of that happened.
So, okay, that is, I mean, it's so moving, inspiring, confounding. It's all the A's, right? Like it's so
Yes, truly.
this thing of like, by the way, you might have been unbelievably happy working like rescuing animals, which is something you can obviously
Yeah.
continue to do regardless of whether you're on Broadway or not. Like you can't
Hmm.
do one and also do Broadway, but the reverse is true. And
Yeah.
curious, like, do you know how Jamie Lloyd or their team had found out about you? You were working regionally.
Yeah. That was an
Sorry,
appointment.
obviously.
Yeah, that was an appointment that I got from Tara Rubin did all the casting for it,
Uh-huh.
and she had sent the information um to my agent because the year before that, at the beginning of 2018, there was a production of Evita in Connecticut where they lost the woman that was playing there, Eva Peron, and I they had been rehearsing for a week, and I got a call at like 11 o'clock in the morning asking me to fly out to New York that night to join the show and start rehearsals tomorrow. Um, so I think she just knew that like, oh, she can do this.
Right,
We've seen her do it. We asked her to do it.
right.
Um, so they just sent me that email, and the day of my final callback for 6. I was there from 10 in the morning until 6:30 at night. And then I went to the airport in Chicago and flew to New York to have my first appointment with Tara Rubin and casting for Evita the next day.
Wow.
Um, that they taped and then sent off. And yeah,
So I want to
wild.
go back because you said like, yeah, when I was like in high school, I started doing some, shows with the drama department. Was singing
Mhm.
not something you were doing all the time from the minute you came out of the womb? Like this idea that this was a
No.
later in life thing. No, that was not your like all day long, you
Mm-mm.
weren't doing other things.
No, I was in choir in junior high and high school. Um, but I was like singing high soprano, and that was kind of the only thing that I was like, what, I can do this, but like this isn't a job, and I'm not like good enough to be an opera singer.
Right,
And so I was just doing it because I felt like I had a place there in choir.
right,
Um, but but I do like I do have a lot of memories being younger, like, well, this is gonna sound so dumb, but like watching all of like the animated Disney movies when I was younger and thinking like, well, I want to be a Disney princess. Like
sure,
I want to be her and I want to sing. Or going to the movies and seeing, kid actors in movies and being like, well, they can be an actor. Like, I think that would be so cool to like be in a movie, but not really understanding or having the um what's the word? Like the resources, or like, and my
right. You
parents
had no
didn't know anything
information.
about
Yeah,
it. Yeah, no
yeah,
information. So I was just kind of like, well, that's, a thing that kids do when they want to be an actor and they ask their, all those stories of like people that are like, well, when I was 12, I asked my mom, I said, I want to be a movie star. And we packed up our things and we moved to LA. And then and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But like, that was the only thing that I knew. That was the only thing that I knew. And that like I had heard, crazy stories like that. And I'm like, well, I'm 17 now, so I can't, that's not an option. Like my parents aren't going to pack up and, and move.
I'm
This
almost
is
an
it. I'm
adult
just going to
now.
have to, yeah, I'm almost an adult. I just have to
Right.
figure it out.
And
Um,
you did.
so
Here
yeah,
you are.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like most of the singing I was doing, like I remember watching season 1 of American Idol and watching Kelly Clarkson and hearing that kind of singing and being like, ooh, I think I could try and sing like that. Or like I grew up at the peak time of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and being like,
Right,
whoa, Christina Aguilera is like singing. Maybe I could do that. I was probably not doing it in a healthy way,
right.
but
But you could mimic
those
it.
were,
Yeah. Well, we all start
yeah,
out
I would
mimicking.
try.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
and now young girls are mimicking you, right? Like the way in which you start by
Yes. That
mimicking
is
who
wild.
you love, channeling the soul of the artist that you love to the best of your
Hmm.
ability. And then you get into a show where like you're the Ariana Grande of six, right? Like that
Hmm.
happened. I went to that show and it was really like the Spice Girls are up there and I'm learning history at the same time. And it's
Yeah.
so empowering and it's fun and it's short and exhausting for this cast.
Hmm.
Like so much was packed into that
Yeah.
76 minutes, whatever that show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, 75 minutes.
Yes. Okay. So that was incredible. That show's incredible. People can hear you sing either on YouTube or download your music. It's
Yep.
incredible. You've also been creating so much of your own work and curating shows where you sing with people you love and showing a whole
Yeah.
other side of yourself that is not stuff written for a musical, that you are
Hmm.
a character, but we get to see you be you. And now you are in this musical that is connected to a piece of literary history that so many people know, either from the book that they read or the movie, either with Leo DiCaprio or Robert Redford. And now there's your cast in this show.
Hmm.
Um, were you aware of this character before you auditioned for it? And obviously, it's not lifted directly, exactly script wise from the novel,
Hmm.
but what's it like playing a very known real person again from Katherine
Yeah.
Howard now to the
Yeah.
biggest feminist golfer? brought
Oh
into
my God, I know.
through art. Um, how's it been? How's it going? How are you? And what's the fun of it?
The show was good. So I think the last time, but when I first got called in for the show, the last time I had read the book was probably in high school.
Yeah.
And I saw the Leonardo DiCaprio film when it came out in theaters. I think I saw it in theaters. But that was like the last, whatever
Mhm.
experience I've had with The Great Gatsby. Um, so when I first got the email, I got asked to come in for Jordan, and right after I got the email, one of my managers emailed me and he said, "Well, I can see if I can get you seen for Daisy instead, since that's the lead." And I was like, "No, I think I'm Jordan." Like reading their description that they had of her, I was like, "No, I really don't think I'm Daisy. Um, that's not me." So I I read the sides that they gave me, and they had also given us there's literally an ice cream truck next to us that is so loud. Oh. Um,
Also, you've been driving for a very long time. Is your doctor in New Jersey or actually in New York City somewhere?
and it is in New York City. So I live on Roosevelt Island and I have to go to Flatiron.
Ooh, okay. It's
So
a
I'm a
trip.
little, so yeah, a little bit of a trek. I don't know what this traffic, but this is insane.
Well, it's
Um,
great for me and my listeners. I'm just sorry you're stuck in
I know,
traffic, but I am in
no,
heaven.
that's okay.
I hope you
My
never
appointment's
get
not
there.
until, yeah, my appointment's not until 1, so I got
Great.
time.
Yay.
Um,
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Keep
so,
going.
oh no, no, no. I had the sides that they sent, and then they had music from the show already. So they sent me a little snippet of one of Jordan's songs to learn. And that was all I wanted to have. There wasn't a script yet. I didn't have a script. Wait, did I have a script? I don't remember if they sent a script or not. Um, but I didn't reread the book. I didn't watch the movies. I wanted to have and like bring in my own idea of maybe who she was for the stage. Um, and I went to the first appointment and it was very quick, and I was like, oh, maybe they didn't like me because I mean, auditions are whoever can tell. Nobody knows. Sometimes you're in there for like 20 minutes and that means you're going to book it. Sometimes you're in there for 20 minutes and then you never hear from anybody ever again. So I did that, and then I was told I was going to go to final callbacks maybe like a week or two later. So I had time to like sit with the material. I still didn't want to reread the book. I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to have any kind of influence um over how I did it. And one thing that I always like to ask, if it even if it's a show that exists already that I'm going in for, before I do anything, I'll always ask, like, is there anything I need to know before I start? Or do you want me to sing exactly what's on the page? I can do that. If not, I'll, kind of make it my own. And I did that both times for the song for callbacks, and Jason Howland, our composer, who is really incredible. Um, I said, "Do you want me to sing this exactly how it is on the page?" And he said, "No, I want you to do exactly what you do. That's why you're here." I said, "Great, then I'll do what I do." Um, which was fun, and like the callbacks were great. And that night I went and had dinner with a couple of the girls from Six. And while we were sitting there, I got an email that said the choreography would like to have a private work session with you. So they hadn't asked me to dance or do anything. And I was like, oh shit, I can't, I haven't danced. They didn't ask me to dance. I know they want Jordan to dance, but like, oh God, I'm afraid they're gonna want like a dancer, and that is not me. And they were like, no, 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 it's gonna be very chill, maybe 30 minutes. Um, he just wants to see how you move so that he could, maybe build the number around you. And I said, okay, that's pretty cool. And I did that at the end of that week, and it was fun. It was like, I mean, our choreographer, Dominique Kelly, is one of my favorite people on the planet. That like all we did was like catwalks up and down the room. And he wanted to see, like, is she good at partnering? Can I lift her? Will she let me lift her? He taught me like a couple short phrases from the dance call they had done that day. And that was kind of it. I knew before the weekend. I did that on like a Friday, I think, a Thursday or a Friday. And by the end of that week, I found out that I had booked it. Um,
So I have a couple of follow-up questions. So
yeah.
first of all, so many people listening either are doing the thing already or are at the beginning of their career and sort of are hearing you, a very established Broadway performer at this point, with a huge fandom and what appears is tremendous confidence on and off stage. And we know you're human,
Oh, that's
all the feelings and things that all humans have. But just talk a
yeah.
little bit about, you said like after the first audition, you're like, oh, I guess they didn't like me. So what does that feel like to you? Do you let it go immediately? Do you give yourself a day do you ask for feedback? Like, how does Sam handle, maybe they didn't like me?
Yeah. I guess I've kind of gotten to a point where I know that when I go into an audition, I'm gonna do my best, period. But I'm also gonna go in and do what I do best, which is, I think, the singing of it all and the acting through the singing of it all. Um, so I'm trying to be better at, I'm gonna go in and do what I do, and that's all I can do. After that, it's not really up to me. And I also know that a lot of times it doesn't really come down to like, oh, well, she was just not good, or she was good, but not good enough. A lot of times it comes down to really stupid stuff like, well, we already cast this one person and they're this height and she looks too tall next to them, or she looks too short, or like she's got dark hair. We can't imagine her in a blonde wig. Like, like dumb shit like that, that like is 100% out of your control. Um, so when I go in for things, I try to just go in, and then when it's done, it's done. And I try and just leave it. And sometimes if I'm curious, I'll, text my manager or my agent and be like, do we know what's going on? Am I released? Can I, not worry about it? Because sometimes it's a matter of like, this is the first audition, callbacks will likely be on these couple dates. And if it starts to come up on callback dates, I'll be like, do I need to hold this time or no? Just so that I can get on with my life. Um, there are definitely there have definitely been some times where, I've gone in for like 3 or 4 rounds of callbacks or something and felt so good and been like, I definitely booked that. And then you don't hear anything. That's the thing. One of the things about this business that still really irks me is like, they just don't tell you. Like, callbacks could be down to 4 people. Like, email the 3 people that didn't get it. Like, that's just common courtesy, but that's just not how it works.
I
And I think
know.
that is so annoying, and is like another way that this business sometimes shows that they don't really care about you as a person. They care about you as to whether or not you'll make them money, like the business side of it, which sucks, but it's just true.
Mhm.
Um, so I think sometimes I just have to either forget about it completely or be like, well, it's a business. That's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's
And
hard.
our
It's
choice
hard sometimes.
to remain in the business or go work at the rescue. Like we have
Yep.
free will and we can, or
Yep.
do things like this where you say out loud the thing that people feel, and maybe somebody hears it and goes, right, I had a minute to write an email. Why didn't I just take a minute
Yeah.
to write to Sam and say, hey, you were magnificent, and I hope we work again down the road together. It could literally be
Yeah.
one sentence. It would be human.
Yeah.
And I feel like a few people do that, and I wish it were contagious. That
Mhm.
kind of just,
Yeah.
it's not even
Yeah.
generosity of spirit. It's literally how we were raised, right? It's like,
Yeah. Yes.
we're just raised, it's like please and thank you. It's like very basic stuff.
Yep.
It's not that complicated.
Absolutely.
So the reaction to The Great Gatsby has been like extraordinary. You're in the audience and people, it really is one of those shows that the excitement and the ways in which the cast, some who were very recognizable before, some who have become recognizable through, the course of this show.
Hmm.
You have a show where people come over and over again, which is kind of what your Broadway
Yes.
experiences have been. Like there's a fandom
Yeah,
to the show now. That must feel great.
it does. It's, I think we were all kind of prepared for that to be a part of it, having um Jeremy and Eva in the show for sure. Um, but like you said, the number of people that have seen it and they've come back, like someone told me the other day this was their sixth time seeing it already, and we've only been in performances since the end of March. Like
You're like, this is the sixth show
that's
I've done. Like what?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I'm like, how do you afford that? Like I work on Broadway and I can't afford Broadway tickets. Like
I know.
that is crazy.
I
But it's,
know.
I mean, it's the response has been really overwhelming and really lovely, and especially to be playing a character that, in the book is not really expanded on. We've expanded on the female characters a lot in
Yeah,
our stage version, and it's affirming and just nice to finish the show and be at the stage show and have people say like, oh my god, I like Jordan, I would never have given her a second thought. Now she's my favorite. You were my favorite. um
did you
or
ever play
lines that I
golf?
say that no,
Okay,
they had to send me to golf lessons.
fun. That's the fun part.
It was really fun.
Yeah,
They asked me when we first started rehearsals for Paper Mill, they said, do you golf? Do you think you'll, I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And they said, great, we'll see about um maybe getting you some golf lessons. And I said, great, I would love that. And I went twice while we were at Paper Mill. And then I did like one more when we started up again for Broadway. I just went back to the same woman to make sure I remembered
yeah,
what I was doing.
yeah,
Um, and it's I feel like it's the kind of activity where like as soon as someone shows you how to do it correctly, you're like, oh, okay, I see. Um, that now I just want to do it all the time. Like I just want to go. They were sending me to Chelsea Piers to just like hit golf balls out over the water, and it was so fun and like kind of relaxing. And
yeah.
now I just kind of want to do that
Want to
all the
do
time.
it.
It always makes me feel really good when someone will say, "Hey, you have a great golf swing." That I'll be like, "Oh my God, thank you so
Yes.
much."
But there
That
are
I
people in
feel,
the audience who golf, and you want to feel like you're
yeah,
doing them proud in that way. It's interesting
yeah,
when you do a show with, now you have like Hadestown fans and Smash fans and, Newsies fans,
mm-hmm.
and they grow up on these
Oh yeah,
people. Um, yeah, I mean, it is really, those two are magic together. Everyone is like really killing it up there. And it sort of just brings back a kind of elegance and fun, and there's a lot of emotion, and this play also deals with very deep
yeah,
themes of like domestic abuse, and there's a lot
mm-hmm.
going on in this musical. It packs in thematically a lot, and you go on many different
Yeah,
rides and cheer and mourn in equal parts. And I just want to
yeah.
say congratulations, you're extraordinary in this part.
Thank you.
It's funny that you're like dance call. I'm not a dance. I was like, you look like a dancer to me. And
Oh my God, thank you so much.
yeah, you've done it. You've done it. You're not just walking the catwalk. You are really doing period dancing and beautiful Broadway dancing, and you look
Thank you.
astonishing and you sound great. And this is not a show just
Thank
about
you.
Gatsby and Daisy. Like all of you are just
Yeah,
so beautifully arced as characters and fulfilling everything that you're being asked to do and more. Before I let you go,
Yeah.
is there a little known fact about you that you can share with my listeners before I let you out of your
Mm.
lift?
Ooh. Um, ooh. This, I mean, it's kind of dumb. Do you want a little known fact like about the industry for me, or just about whatever?
Anything that pops in your head, a little known fact about Sam Pawly. You're very generous with the universe already. Is there anything that we can reveal today that people will be like, wait, I did not know that?
Oh my gosh. This is so silly. I really don't like cheese. I only like it on pizza.
Got it. All right. And
I'll eat
with
it on pizza any other time. I think it's disgusting.
sorry, Wisconsin. Okay, with that, I
Sorry.
give you Sam Pawly. Have a great day, and thank you for all of the beautiful work and artistry that you share with
Thank you.
the world to me. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.